Distribution. This time we'll be multiplying through by leading term as a negative. Okay, so this will be the negative 4 will distribute here, here, and here. So this will be a negative 4 times a negative x squared. Next we have a negative here, and then this will be a negative 4 multiplied with a 9x and a positive, and this will be a negative 4 multiplied with an 8. Okay, so if we treat this as understood 1 from the x right here, we can rearrange that as a negative 4 multiplied with a negative 1 and then times an x squared. So this will be a positive 4 x squared. So positive 4 x squared. Next, we're multiplying by two negatives here. Multiply by two negatives, you'll have positive, and a 4 times a 9 is 36, and then times the x is x. Next, we're multiplying here this entire expression by just one negative, so the answer will be negative, and the 4 times 8 will be 32. We're done. All right, distribute the negative 5 here, here, and there. So this will be a negative 5 multiplied with a negative 9x squared. This is a negative here, then the negative 5, and now the 8x. I don't need the negative because I moved it to the front there. And then a positive here, and then a negative 5 multiplied with a 7. So two negatives here will give me a positive, and the 5 times 9 is 45, and then times the x squared. Here we're multiplying by two negatives, so this will be positive. The 5 times 8 gives us 40, and the x is multiplied at the back. Here we're multiplying by a total of one negative, so that's negative. The 5 times 7 will be 35. We're done. Okay, we want to distribute this negative x here, here, and here. So this will be a negative x multiplied with a negative x squared. Now, what's going on there is this. The negative x times negative x squared, you can treat as understood ones there. So that's really a negative 1 times a negative 1. And then what's left over is an x times an x squared. Well, once again, the x times x squared really is an x times x times x. So you can interpret this as a positive 1 x to the third power. So 1x to the third power, and it's understood positive. Okay, next we have a negative there, and then the negative x, and then the 4x here. Two negatives gives us a positive, and 4, and x times x is x to the second. And here we have a positive here, and then a negative x multiplied with a 5. So since we're multiplying by one negative, we'll have negative, and x times 5 will be 5x. Next, we want to multiply our negative x here, here, and there. So this will be a negative x multiplied with a negative 3x squared, a negative, and then a negative x multiplied with a 5x, and then finally a plus and a negative x multiplied with an 8. So two negatives gives us positive. And again, you don't have to write the positive here. It's understood if it's in front and leading. That's really a 1. So 1 times 3 is 3. X times x to the second is x to the third. We multiply two negatives, we get positive. And then times 5. And x times x will be x to the second power. Well, here we're multiplying by one negative, so we're going to get negative. And x times 8 is the same thing as 8 times x. So 8x. Now we're going to distribute our negative 6x here, here, and here. So this will be a negative 6x multiplied with a negative x squared. Next we have a plus, and once again our negative 6x multiplied with the 4x. Another plus. Now we have negative 6x multiplied with a 5. So two negatives will give us positive, And this is understood 1, so 6 times 1 is 6, and x times x to the second is x to the third. Here we're multiplying by 1 negative, so this will be negative. And 6 times 4 will be 24, and x times x will be x to the second power. Here we're multiplying by 1 negative, so this will be negative. And 6 times 5 is 30, and then times x. Next, we want to distribute our negative 5 here, here, and here. So what we're going to get is a negative 5 multiplied with a negative 3x squared, then a negative. Then we're going to write another negative 5x here times this 5x, then a positive, a plus sign, and then once again negative 5x, and then multiply it with the 8 that's there. So what we get is a negative times negative, that's going to be positive. 5 times 3, which is going to be 15. X times x to the second is x to the third. Here we have two negatives here, so we have a positive, and we have a 5 times 5, which is 25, and an x times x. That is x to the second power. Okay, next we're multiplying by one negative here, so this will be negative. 5 times 8 is going to be 40, and then 40 times x is 40x. Let's distribute the negative x squared here, here, and here. So this will be a negative x squared multiplied with a negative x squared. Next we need a negative, and this will be a negative x squared multiplied with a 2x, and then the plus sign here. And this is going to be a negative x squared multiplied with a 4. So multiplying two negatives on the outside gives us a positive, and x to the second times x to the second is going to be x to the fourth. Negative times negative gives us another positive, and 2 times the 1 here, 2 times 1 is 2. And we also have an x to the second times x, that's going to be x to the third. Here we're multiplying by one negative, so that's going to be negative. And x squared times 4 will be the same answer as 4 times x squared. Okay, we want to distribute this negative 6x squared here, here, and here. So negative 6x squared multiplied with a negative 9x squared. Then we have a negative. And now we're going to have parentheses negative 6x squared multiplied with the 8x. And then finally, we're going to have a plus sign and a negative 6x squared multiplied with a 7. So what we'll get is two negatives will give us positive. 6 times 9, 54. X squared times x squared is x to the fourth. Multiplying two negatives, this will be positive. 6 times 8 will be 48. And the x squared times x is x to the third power. Next, we'll multiply by one negative, so this will be negative. 6 times 7 is 42 times x to the second power. That one is done.